Welcome, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. Today we have another session of Community Spotlight where we're presenting the early stage projects that are building on Arweave that are super interesting. And to kick things off, we have Axel, who's going to be presenting Argora. So Axel, why don't you take it away?
Okay, hello. So I'm Axel. I'm going to present you Argora, which is a social network on the top of Arweave. So I'm going to share with you screen and go right into the presentation. So this is the logo. It's not definitive, but yeah, for now it's like this. We'll see if I change it or not. I have already alpha version that is ready to see right now. So I'm going to drop it into the chat. So later on, you will be able to see by yourself. So what is Argora exactly? If I want to give a quick answer, it would be a Twitter-like application. So yeah, I took Twitter and I was thinking, okay, let's put it on the web 3.0. But more than this, I tried to build it like following the PermaWeb paradigm. So it's more like I will follow what the community needs and trying to build this in some way that makes sense for Arweave. So I think there will be a new discovery ahead. Also, I think it's important to have an intuitive interface to interact with Arweave. So in my project, I put in place some indicators, for example, where like what is the transaction linked to a message. You have an indicator that will say if the message is still mining, if the transaction is confirmed or not, this kind of things. So I think for newcomers, it's interesting. Now a little bit about the name. So Argora, I took it from Agora, which is a Greek name. So ancient Greek city-states, the Agora was the center of athletic, artistic, business, social, spiritual, and political life. So more or less like the place where everybody hang out. And I think Arweave community needs something like this. And furthermore, like more in general, we need a place where we can go beyond the censorship, where we can have like a real history of who say what. So this is where Argora comes in. About the token economy, for now, I just have some draft ideas. So I'm thinking about it, and I'm looking for input for this. Like any suggestion from the community, I will take it. Some of these ideas that I have is a donate button, for example. So you can write a message and people can just donate, a little bit like awiki.wiki. Also just this thing, but with a like button, and maybe organize a reward. So people who like content that become very, very trendy, they can have some part of the reward also. And yeah, just in general, like original poster reward system, where maybe someone that posts something that has a lot of comments that bring a lot of content on the platform can have a reward, something like this. So for this, I'm open to your suggestions. So now time to make you a little demo of the alpha version that I have here. Okay, cool. I see already some people are trying it. So on the top right, so this is the main timeline, right? On the top right corner, I can log in. Right, type my super secret password, accept all of these permissions. Right, I can write something on the main timeline. So hello, I'm happy to present you Argora. I can tweet it right? So I wait for the transaction to be made. Takes some time. Okay. What up, Axel? Like the retro vibe here. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Super good.
Well, this is well, this loads. This is fully up and operational, right? Like it's already working.
Yeah, it is working, and I plan to.
Nice.
So this will be forever. I will extend the protocol, but I will keep it so all these messages will stay in the application, but there will be updates. So while it's loading, also I think it's important. It's a must-have to get a dark version of any website. So
Nice.
even late at night we can keep talking. For any message sent, you can click on it and you have a new thread that opens. Nice. So this is where it's a little bit like Twitter. For each message, you have the TX ID and the author here. So if you click on the TX ID, it goes on the view block and you can see the detail of it. And here I can click on the author, and I have his profile with all of his tweets and replies. But this that's all for me. So I can come back to the presentation here and tell you what future improvement ideas I have, because this is only an alpha. It's really limited about features, but I'm thinking different features for different parts. So there is this part, Web 2.0, Web 3.0. The goal is to bring people into the Web 3.0. So I was thinking a button like Tweet My Tweet. So you can make a tweet of a post that you made on Argora. Share button with a tiny URL generation, or maybe with other social networks, something that makes easy to share a specific tweet, specific post on embedded content when posting a link, when you bring a YouTube link, like you will have the YouTube video or something. So this is something I'm thinking about. And directly about the Arweave. So what I think is, it would be interesting to re-centralize all the different parts that we have on Arweave. So with ID, I would gladly use with ID for the profile section, so we can add some details about ourselves, an avatar, and this kind of things. Our verify implementation too. So like this, you can see if someone is trusty enough, this kind of thing. And also I want to add the possibility to post pictures. So this will be probably there next week. Possibility to post polls would be nice. And of course a retweet button, which is like the retweet button of Argora. And some other like specific UI specific ID, like an emoji drawer. I would like to implement like Markdown. You could write in Markdown, this kind of thing. Yeah, a lot of ideas ahead, and that's all for me. So thanks for watching, and see you on the Weave.
That's awesome. Thank you very much, Axel. So what are some questions that you would have, or like some challenges that you would like some input from the community?
So
maybe just one.
Like one. What do you mean? A question that I would have for the community?
Yeah, exactly. Like, so what feedback would be useful to you?
Well, my primary goal would be that people come onto it and enjoy to go on it. So yeah, everything that can help this, like is it simple to use? Is it interesting to use? What are the blogs here? This kind of thing. Okay. And yeah,
that makes a ton of sense. How can people find you perhaps in our developer Discord. You're by Taggle, right?
Yeah, by the Taggle. Yeah,
Okay.
but I might change this nickname in the future.
To
But,
Axel Argora or something.
maybe I'm still thinking about it. It's just complicated to change because many accounts to change, and so I'm thinking about it. But yeah, at the moment, Axel by the Taggle, and by the Taggle is on Twitter and GitHub and everything. Yeah,
that sounds great. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. That's great. I'm really excited to use this. That's awesome. Thank you very much. All right.
Cool, thanks.
Next up, we have Jim and Slava with Art by City. So Jim and Slava, oh, you're already here. So expeditious. It's
hey,
great.
Everyone.
How's it going, guys?
Doing all right. Everyone. How are you doing?
All good. We're super happy to have you guys.
Super happy to be here.
Great. Well, let's get cracking.
All right. So we're Art by City, and real quick, Art by City's mission is to provide artists with the tools to curate their permanent digital presence. We also aim to help artists build communities while providing personal digital gallery experience for both the artists and their audiences. So after talking to artists and figuring out what their current needs are in terms of the web space, we've identified 3 problem areas. The first is lack of permanence. Artists don't have really a permanent digital presence that they know is going to be guaranteed there forever. And there's another kind of sub-problem to this where they kind of equate NFTs to permanent data storage, which most of the time isn't true. The second problem we've identified is lack of monetization. Artists have to essentially treat this as a second job to be able to monetize their art, and this impacts their ability to create art. They're being affected by the monetization of their art, which affects what they produce, and they don't want to have to be influenced by that kind of thing. The third problem we identified, which kind of ties into the other 2, is verification, metadata, digital copyright licensing, and essentially creating a history of art from idea, even if it's physical art, all the way to digitizing and Web 3.0. So our solution for the storage, we'd be using PermaWeb storage on Arweave, allowing artists to publish art profiles, have curated feeds, and work with them to perhaps have a white glove presence on the PermaWeb if that's something that they need. For monetization, we'll be spinning up a profit sharing community to share profits of app usage with artists and users of the app. Some other things we're thinking about for monetization are rewarding for views on some type of layer 2 protocol, rewarding profit sharing tokens for that. For likes, we can split the service fee directly with the artist, with the owner of that asset. Same thing for reposts. Tipping is also a natural extension of that. And we also want to support direct-to-consumer services so they don't have to think about those things as well, like prints or t-shirts. And of course, any other of the fun Web 3.0 stuff, including NFTs, if that's something they want, or completely new experiences that we think of with them. And the third would be artist verification and metadata curation. So we're really thinking about how we can help the artists here, their concerns that they would run into in the future, and how they can protect their copyright, and how they can verify that they are who they say they are. Because at the end of the day, we'll be linking Arweave wallet addresses to artist personalities. In terms of competition, we don't really see many direct competitors, as we're not focusing necessarily on NFTs first in the Web 3.0 space. We're also not exclusive or forcing any type of format, standardized format on artists. In terms of Web 2.0, artists, there really aren't many sites that are focused specifically on artists, or they're also exclusive, or they're hard to use, like Flickr. And of course, art could be anything that could be displayed in the browser. So of course, music or video or anything like that, even JavaScript art or Canvas or shader kind of art would be kind of the art we'd want to support. And so where we see our advantages are that we prioritize the artist. These other options that the artists currently have are pretty general, and we want to think about the problem, all the problems the artist would have in terms of the digital web, and even going into physical art and digitizing that. we want to think about these problems from their perspective and what makes sense for them. We don't want to force them into any sort of standard or forcing them to make NFTs where they don't make sense, for example. The second part is we would have turnkey Web 3.0 monetization. So when your art's on here, for example, if you're getting paid for likes, the very same action that records the data for the like from the user pays the artist. So you're instantly getting paid. You don't have to worry about it. Your art's just there. You're collecting on it. And the third part, the third advantage would be transparency, open source code, and have this be owned by the community. So artist verification, we don't want to have our team gatekeep who is an artist and what is art, or what should be displayed on community curated feeds. So we want to design systems to allow the community to decide what should be acceptable. As of right now, I'm Jim. I'm the CTO, do full stack development. We've got Mike as the CEO, Slava is the COO, we've got Effie doing finance, and we just picked up a friend of mine, Sam, for front-end development. We're looking for a UI UX designer, first and foremost. It's a very high impact role. Really, there's very little design, but we're kind of going for something that looks like SoundCloud, decentralized SoundCloud for artwork kind of feel. And we're always looking for early community members. And that's Art by City. You can check us out on GitLab right now, and then Slava will be linking our Discord in the chat. Thanks,
That's
guys.
awesome, Jim and Slava. Thank you very much. So how do you get the, inspiration to build this?
Well, we were building a Web 2.0 app to try to solve some of these problems. And then, it just kind of makes sense to start using Arweave for that purpose. So in our interviews, we were just asking artists what their current problems are with, their art and how they make money off of it and how they get it, how they share it and how they get exposure. So it seems like a natural conclusion to come to this, to make sure, every artist we talk to is extremely excited that the possibility of their data being there forever. They go almost manic and start thinking of new projects immediately.
That's awesome.
Even outside of NFTs and all of that, because they may not necessarily understand that. And I think that's part that's important too, is we don't want to gatekeep people with blockchain knowledge. So we want to support the artists that have nothing, they don't know anything about blockchain. And we'll tell them, yeah, your data's here forever. If they ask why, we'll explain. But
right, like they don't need to know upfront.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
And as far as inspiration, I feel Jim and I have just been exposed to a lot of artists just through the circles that we mingle with. And being maybe in New York City, we just encountered a lot of artists that are talented and just don't have a way of presenting their work to the world. They don't have a way of digitally saying, this address, you'll always find me, this is my name, and all of my artwork is there. Their projects change, the people they work with change, portfolios change, and they seem to lose a lot of their artwork along the way.
Right.
And they also have a hard time monetizing their artwork, because as an artist, it's very hard to decide what your art is worth, because it's usually up to the consumer to decide, and you kind of have that feedback loop. And a lot of these platforms don't allow artists to have that feedback loop with their consumers, because they're either too, I guess, drowned out by everything else in the feed, or they're really encountering a lot of bots on these platforms in the 2.0 space now. So it's hard to know whether you're actually getting likes or these are bots. So I feel this platform would give them more direct connection with their consumers and give them the opportunity to just concentrate on their art, create more artwork, and not have to worry about the monetizing and keeping their files, and where is it going to go? Is it going to be here? Is it not going to be here? Taking those things away should produce higher levels of art, we believe. Just like, there's a pyramid of needs that that a person needs to fulfill before they can finally evolve to the next steps. So if we can take care of these steps for the artists, they can just concentrate on evolving and not have to worry about these menial things.
That's a good way of putting it. It's basically like you're taking away all the sort of hassle of the marketing, commercialization, right? And it just like letting them focus on, producing the art and then like putting it up here. That's
Artists
awesome.
really hate selling themselves, and when they get into
I
that
think
feeling
everyone
of
does.
selling myself, it takes away from that artistic inspiration. And then there's that little moment of self-doubt, And we don't want artists to experience that. We want them to constantly grow and evolve.
Yep, that makes perfect sense to me. Thank you very much, Jim and Slava.
Thank you for your time, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Where can
Thanks, guys.
people find you besides GitLab?
I
Slava
dropped the
linked
Discord, yeah, in the chat.
Nice, awesome. All right,
Thank you, guys.
cool.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you very much, guys. All right, next up we have Joe. Joe, what are you going to present for us today? There we go. Hey, man.
Guys.
Yo, how's it going?
Going well. Get the right screen up here. All right, we good?
We're
Yep.
super good. We can see your slides. You're going to talk to us about aftermarket.
Yeah, how's everybody doing today? My name is Joe Barenbaum, and my project's called Aftermarket. And Aftermarket is essentially treasury management for the Arweave ecosystem. So what exactly is that? So the original idea for After was around investment vehicles, like mutual funds or EFTs, that we all know about today. But then when we started building, we realized that the protocol itself was foundational and could support many other use cases. And so that's where the focus shifted, because we couldn't decide the best use case at the present time. And we also believed that the base layer enough to focus our efforts there. Plus, we needed it for any use case that we thought of to begin with. So the aftermarket token derives its value from the products that are built on top of it. I'll cover that on the next slide a little bit. In a nutshell, though, any project that has the need to group, encapsulate, slice, or even manage tokens is potentially a use case. And then if you really start thinking about this structure, it's pretty powerful. After vehicles can be tokens of tokens. And if you think about that, it enables recursive profit streams in a sense. So, when I start thinking about how that works, my brain starts to hurt, but I'll touch on that a little bit later. All right, I seem to have lost my screen here. There we go. All right, so let's take a look at some potential use cases. At its core, the After protocol is a smart contract that has the ability to custody Arweave profit sharing tokens. I won't dig into all of these right now just due to time constraints, but here are a few that I've already had conversations with some folks about. Down here in the right-hand corner, I mentioned investment vehicles earlier, and that's probably the easiest to discuss. Think of an ETF or a mutual fund of Arweave profit sharing tokens. And then the cool thing there is any token holder of that vehicle would have the rights to that vehicle's profit streams. And then another use case that's already a need in the ecosystem is really around treasury management, and specifically treasury management of charities. All treasuries will have the need to be managed by a DAO potentially. And then, charities are really no different, and an After vehicle would allow charity funds to be controlled and securely distributed as a part of the After smart contract. And then, Sam mentioned liquid NFTs a few weeks ago. We think that an After vehicle could help facilitate EFT ownership in radical markets. And then lastly, a use case that I'm calling value segmentation. So think of an asset that someone wants to tokenize, but then tokenize it as an After vehicle. So with After, this asset could be distributed, fractionalized, or really even leased in a sense. So the folks holding those fractions can take part in the profit streams generated by that asset. A lot of potential in that area. So I know this is a little vague here, and I hope you're starting to see my vision for an After vehicle mechanism that really can redirect flows of profit sharing tokens with configurable governing rules. So let's talk about the tokenomics for a second. So the profit streams to after vehicle token holders are generated from activities on after vehicles. So for example, when a vehicle is created on AFTR.market, a tip is generated in that vehicle's token, and that's sent to after token holders. And then other administrative tasks that would happen on AFTR.market, like voting, for example, would also generate tips, probably an R that would go to AFTR token holders. And then, of course, the new vehicles created, they'll have token holders as well, and those token holders will receive the profit streams generated from that vehicle. All right, so I said I'd come back to recursive profit streams just to really show how powerful this concept can be. And it can happen in this way. Let's say we have two after vehicles, vehicle A and B, and then each have their own profit sharing tokens or NFTs, pretty much any asset on the Arweave ecosystem held inside. And then since both of these are tokens themselves, you could conceivably add vehicle B's or vehicle B to vehicle A. Thus, this is where the profit stream recursion occurs. And so that would be pretty exciting to kind of see how the funds map works there. So thanks for your time today. That's really all I had for you. I'm on the East Coast in the U.S., and then you can reach me on Discord or on Twitter. And I'm in the community as well. And I really love seeing all these projects on the Weave.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Joe. So
Sure.
What got you excited about this project?
Let me come back on camera here. There we go. A couple things. So originally basically the idea of investment vehicles on Arweave, I think was really cool, and then realizing that this could really be a foundational base layer for a lot of other use cases, and then that enables me to get to meet a lot of folks in this in this ecosystem. So I think those are probably the things that I enjoy the most.
That makes sense. Well, thank you very much for presenting. I really enjoyed that. That's great.
Sure.
All righty. Last but by no means least, let's welcome Leon with Arweave RC. I think you're muted, Leon.
All right, hello guys.
There we go.
My name is Leon, and this is called Arweave RC. So everything good?
Yep, all
Awesome.
good to go.
So this is all public. It's a proof of concept, so keep that in mind. But the idea of this is it possible to build a game with an existing gaming engine, but make it completely decentralized? And here's a working example. So the game is built with Unity. The back end is a leaderboard that keeps track of state, is living on Polygon, and the whole game itself is living on Arweave. And the last piece is this Chainset Gaming SDK, which kind of ties everything together. So enough about the technical stuff. I'll go over the actual demo. So in the repo, there's a link. I'll also post it in chat. And here's the game. It's built with Unity. And this game here is completely decentralized. Down here, you have 3 buttons. Polygon contract, which I'll go into later. Controls, which is just arrow keys to move around. And the play button to play. So I'm going to click play. Next step is to connect to a wallet. In this case, I'll connect to MetaMask. So the idea of this is to have a leaderboard that keeps track of address, score, address, score, address, score. So I'm going to connect to my MetaMask here. I'm going to sign in. and I'm ready to go. Use the arrow keys to move around. So as I mentioned before, this game has a backend that's living on Polygon, which keeps track of the score. So the score here is on the top. It's counting down, and the idea is to get the highest score by completing this route in the shortest amount of time. So I'm kind of talking and playing at the same time, so I'm kind of bad at this. That being said, the game itself is on Arweave. You can see in the banner. Shout out to the RKB team for helping me deploy this game.
That's awesome.
One of the first games on the Arweave ecosystem. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's quite nice. And the last piece is the chain-safe gaming SDK right here. And that piece kind of ties everything together. With Web 2 gaming, with gaming engines, there is no Web 3 infrastructure. So the idea of this piece of software is to kind of merge those two things together. So my score is going to be low this time. Hopefully I make it to the top 10. I can't see my score yet, but just give it a second.
What happened there when it was like blinking red?
Yep, that's if you have 10 seconds left to complete the route or complete the track. So if you don't, you lose. Yeah. So my score is 1240. This is the leaderboard that I mentioned before. I should be here, but I'm not yet because it has to deploy or update on the Polygon contract. So if I click Polygon contract and I go to transactions, this transaction was made 15 seconds ago. And if I verify and I click refresh leaderboard, my score should be somewhere right here, 1240. So I'm ranked 123 or index 012, so index 2. So if I go back to the contract, I can verify here as well. So read contract. What was it again? 2. And I query my address DDA06. So if I go to my account here, it's DD, or what is it? Yeah, DD4. Let me double check one more time. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So that's another way to verify. The contract is also written here, which keeps track of the top 10 leaderboards. And as I mentioned before, this game is living on Arweave. And it's deployed with ArcB. And the last piece is the gaming SDK by ChainSafe, which ties everything together. So the idea of this project is not so much the game. It's more so a proof of concept to say, hey, you're able to deploy these completely decentralized games. And these are the tools. And this is how you do it. Thanks.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah, I see the link to play right there. So I guess you're not going to be the top player anymore, hopefully, after today's session. All right, everyone.
I just want to add one more thing.
Go ahead.
There's some tricky things with the gaming side that I'd like to figure out. The biggest one is, I made up this word, but called proof of play. So how is it possible to prove that you got this score in a trustless way? So if you guys have any ideas, please reach out to me. I'll send them in the chat.
That's awesome. Are there any cheat codes or anything that people can use to, well, I guess that's a DM kind of question.
Yeah, we'll discuss it later on. Thank you.
All right, perfect. Great. Well, thank you very much, Dion. Well, that's all that we have for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Please make sure to go to the booths that we have set up outside and yeah, just have fun, I guess.